Obviously, I was raised without any religion, no church on Sundays. I went to a couple baptisms and hated it because it was just so out of the norm, and it just seemed like a fairy tale to me because I didn't have any of it growing up. It just wasn't. It was very foreign to me. It's just like, oh, that's something to keep the kids in line and kind of get them to act right. It was probably in my early 20s that I was working with this guy, and he was very Christian. He ended up going to a seminary. So I was just like, how does somebody so bright and so just wise believe in all this? And it kind of just was a lot of questions I'd ask him. And my favorite question that I asked him, and especially now, it's funny to me because I asked him, what's with the ego on this God character? And he just looked at me like you're looking at me right now, just like, oh no, I get it. Like, I get why you would think that way. Everybody struggles with it at some point, whether you're raised with it or not raised with it. And he just kind of gave me a straight answer. And I think I credit him a lot for me keeping an open mind because of how genuine he was with me. So I joined the Marine Corps around 26 years old. I was pretty depressed throughout my time at boot camp especially, but I would go to the Christian service on Sundays because you could either go to some kind of religious service or stay in the squad bay with the drill instructors, and that was an easy choice for me to just go ahead and say, I'll go to the Christian service. Courtney and I met online. I actually was probably moments from deleting the app. I was looking for a friend more than anything. Like, I just didn't have anybody around. I was 26 as opposed to all the 18 to 20-year-olds that were around me. So she messaged me, and I could tell pretty quickly she was going to be special in my life. I wanted to go to church for Courtney, and I was stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and we found this church. It fit really well. I wasn't really feeling like I was gaining the faith, but I was gaining an understanding of what the scripture was about. It just never clicked to me for the longest time to get over that faith barrier. The first time that I tried prayer was in my lifetime. I never really could bring myself to do it until that I was kind of coming around to it, and I was able to pray for the health of my unborn child. We were, I think, 7-8 weeks pregnant at the time, and the next appointment we had, I think it's the end of the first trimester appointment, we found out that the baby no longer had a heartbeat. At that time, it seemed like the end of the rope for me in Christianity. But now looking back at it, it makes more sense. And maybe it wasn't the catastrophic event that I thought it was. And fast forward to now, I have 2 great, healthy kids. I'd like to be that rock for my family, for my wife, for my kids, to be the spiritual leader of the family. But I was just like, I can't say that I'm in if I'm not in. We were looking for schools for my son, and we ended up touring Orangewood. We did an interview with the principal down there, and she asked if we had a home church, which, since we moved down here, we'd gone to a few churches. We really hadn't found anything. I don't know why we hadn't tried the church that was 5 minutes down the street from us by then, but she says, well, why don't you try out Orangewood? And we're like, oh, for sure. And from the first day we came here, it just felt like a really good fit for us. Again, with the being able to relate to what the pastor's saying, it just fit. It made sense.
I've sat with Andrew and heard his story. It was actually in the course of them sitting in the Discovering Orangewood class that Pastor Chuck was leading, that when he first started doing Discovering Orangewood, he's like, I know if I'm going to join, I'm going to have to, answer these questions and affirm these things, and I'm not sure if I'm there.
The time when I kind of realized that those walls were coming down was when I was taking the membership classes, and Pastor Chuck was going over a whole bunch of different Bible verses and stuff during our membership classes that kind of helped me through a lot of the decision making I had to make at that time with my career. And somewhere in the midst of all that is when I felt like the faith barrier finally came all the way down to a point where I was like, oh, I just step over this now and now I'm good to go. Like, it's all set now. It all just clicked.
I am so inspired by Andrew. He is motivated by a love for his wife and a love for his children. It's something he talks about every single time that we sit together. He wants to be a good husband. He wants to be a good father. And he's almost tearfully said, Gavin's asking me questions about the Bible. I want to learn so I can point him in the right direction, and I can answer his questions. So he's excited to learn more about Scripture, excited to know Jesus. He's also excited to be the sort of man that God calls him to be for Courtney and Gavin and McKenna.
I'm very thankful that we found Orangewood. That's the first and foremost thing I would say. I'm very thankful that we found Orangewood. The way that everything just clicked here, and just we felt at home here right from the start. And I'm just thankful that Orangewood was here in a time when I needed it.